DearMamaSal. And if you're just joining in for the first time, just like to explain how we do this. For the first part of the broadcast, I will be doing news, views, and updates for my viewers. I have viewers that are like an extended family. And so what we like to do is make sure that they know what's going on with other people. And then from the sort of whatever onwards, we will do the topic. So if you are here for the first time, you'll see that below on the video, it will say, or rather on the replay, it will say from 00 to this point, news, views, and updates, and then the actual time that the topic starts. So for those of you who are not interested, haven't got to know the people yet, that way you can go directly to the topic if you want to. Wow, I don't know why my video is causing some problems today, and I'm just hoping that it's going to work. It seems to be snagging for some reason. Anyway, we'll find out. So just in terms of the news, views, and updates, let me just get my notes in front of me here. The first thing I want to do is to it's just confusing me that nobody's in the room. Normally that people would be here by now. So I'm hoping that this is working. Strange. Just hold on. I just want to put a note out to somebody to see if they can get in. All right, let me see if that works any better. That's really confusing when I know it's gone live, and normally by now we'd have a few people in the room, and we don't have any. That means, there we go. There's Nana. There's Beth. That's better. I was sitting here all by myself for a while. Obviously, the link didn't connect up properly. So good. I'm glad that you got there. And Nana, we haven't seen you for a while. So, question, any news updates that we need to know about? And whilst Nana's typing that, I just want to say that I haven't heard from Erin this week, so I'm not sure what's new with her. If anybody has any updates, let me know. Lauren's doing a great job. I was really pleased, that she was in hospital for quite some time. And she started volunteering again, which is awesome. And also, what she did was she has started doing a course, one of those courses where you do it in modules. And so if anybody knows Lauren, any support you can give her in keeping up to date with those modules would be awesome. And Nana's updating us on the fact that the family member that was not doing well, you will remember, is actually her brother. So we'll keep him in our thoughts and prayers here, Nana. Oh gosh, and she's just saying that her neighbor has been sick for 2 days. Has been sick, and 2 days ago called her because she'd fallen and hit her head and couldn't get up. Wow. Yeah, thank you for letting us know, Nana. I appreciate it. And I didn't push for that because I was pretty sure that you would tell me when that was ready. Hi, Studded. Welcome to DearMamaSal and friends. And have you been here before? I don't recognize that call sign, but maybe you have, and I haven't seen it before. Anyway, whilst we're waiting for that, Jody has been really struggling with the heat and hi, Jamie, with the heat and the humidity. I want to tell you that I know how much I'm struggling with the heat at the moment. And he's like, today I'm going, I could really do with some air conditioning today. It's I would say well over 65 in my house at the moment. Right. So Nana's saying that her brother, he'll get a 3-day pass in a month, but he has a blood clot in his heart. Wow. That is scary, isn't it? How did they find out that's where it was? It's amazing how they can do that. Well, again, thoughts and prayers for him, Nana. You guys must be worried sick about him. So, oh, they found it by scans. Okay, so then he'll need a second bypass. Wow. And wow, thank you, Studded. Studded is, for those of you watching on the replay, Studded just said, I just wanted to say that you're such a strong person and I admire your personality a lot. You know, I'm not really quite as strong as you probably think I am. When I say that, I try to make sure that everybody, knows that I struggle with the same things everybody else does. And I don't think it's, but I thank you for the compliment. Let me put it that way. How did you find us, Studded? And if you can, and only if you want to, you can pass and not do it. Can you give us male or female and roughly the age group, in your 20s, your 30s, or like me, an old fart, just give us an idea so we got an idea. Well done, Jody. Welcome. And so I did want to congratulate Lauren on going ahead and actually starting a new course. Has anybody else started a new course this year? And I know that, yes, and Nana, we talked about that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot that from lunchtime. I just didn't update my notes. I fell asleep. There's Lauren. There she is. And Nana sprained her ankle. And, Nana, you definitely are a disaster area. If I think about all the things the damage you've done to yourself in the 6 years that I've known you, I'm thinking about, it's like, you need to wrap yourself in bubble wrap. And it's really, what were you doing this time that you sprained your ankle? I mean, the last time you dropped a paint can on your foot or something. So I'm just wondering, what were you doing that you sprained an ankle? So Lauren, big round of applause on studying. There's, the one thing I always say to people, or one of many things I always say to people, is don't ever worry about taking a course and learning something, because that stuff people can't take from you. That's yours. Oh, you were walking on uneven ground at a cheese and wine party. What can I say? I mean, I'm sorry to laugh, and I'm happy. yeah, and I wasn't drunk. Yeah, and I'm happy you were at a cheese and wine party. At least you would have had lots of attention. Yeah, and I wasn't drunk. Right. How many of you are going, yeah, right, Nana? All right, so just a couple of updates so that I remember. Yeah, we've been without Lauren. That's quite right, Jody. We've been without Lauren for too long, so it's wonderful to see her there. Yeah, now Nana's saying these are old people. It's not that kind of a party. Just 2 hours in the afternoon. Boy, yep. I'm teasing you, Nana. All right, so I just wanted to thank all of you who've been supporting me in the downsizing. I had some incredible things happen with my quest for finding somewhere to live. And, we were talking about it at the lunchtime broadcast. It was amazing how that happened. And so if you're interested in how that side of my life is going, but I did want to thank everybody for the support. I explained at lunchtime, and I'd like to repeat it again because I think it's important. if you don't feel very motivated to do something, or if you don't feel well enough to do as much as you think you ought to, for example, either of those things, this is what I found out this week, that if you say to yourself, okay, at the start, whatever day you choose, at this given time, I'm going to give it 10 minutes of really hard work. And then I can either decide to stop after 10 minutes or carry on. But every hour for the next so many hours, that's what I'm going to do. And I want to tell you, I was absolutely stunned at how much I got done. I also saw it as an exercise thing, and I had my Fitbit going, and what I discovered was that it really motivated me to go downstairs, take a box downstairs, just one. And then the next time I took another one. And so I got about 4 boxes a day down into the garage just by doing that. Plus, the number of steps I took in a day doubled. So that's really important. Lauren's saying that she's happy to be here, and hey, she's happy to be alive. It was very touch and go there for a while. Yes, it was, Lauren. And just so that people know what happened to you, Lauren, you can pass on this one if you want to. But do you want to explain to the viewers what you did that ended up in it very touch and go in your life? Because I think it's an important lesson for people. And I'm not going to talk about it unless you give me some input to do so. While Lauren is typing that answer, I just wanted to let the new people know, and those of you who may be ghosting, welcome. We always welcome people who are ghosting. We've had people who ghosted for months and months, even years, and we're always welcome when they pop in. So the reality that I'd like to say is that if somewhere on your screen, I think on the top right-hand corner near my face, there's a little bell. And if you click on there, it'll always tell you when I'm about to go live. And it's really important that you do that, because that way it will automatically tell you. The other thing is follow me on Facebook, because I will put the notifications up on Facebook and Twitter, normally about 35 minutes before the broadcast. I don't know why I do it at 35 minutes, not at 30, not at 40. I have no idea why that happens, but that's what I got into the habit of doing. And so that's where I will give you some advance warning and also the topic of the day. So please subscribe and know that you will then be kept up to date. We do 3 broadcasts a week, in case this is the first one that you've caught. So I'm going to do a time check here. All right, Lauren says I can talk about it. So Lauren, just correct me where I'm wrong, right? Because I want to make sure I got this right. Lauren started to not feel too good about herself. And she also started to have problems with infections in her legs. For those of you who don't know, Lauren is one of my many viewers who are in wheelchairs. It's amazing to me how many of my viewers are in a wheelchair. And well done, Beth. And so what happened was she had this infection going on and a sore in her leg. And what I noticed as her friend was that she was getting more and more, how would you describe it, Lauren? I don't want to put words in to your mouth, because it's important people understand what created this. She just wasn't a happy person. She wasn't a happy camper, not the one that, I'd got to know. And she kept coming up with more and more excuses on stuff. And generally, things were not going well. And in the meantime, she also was getting more and more problem with this infection that she had. And I know that we tried to encourage her to go to a doctor. She's saying she was depressed. Yeah, that was the condition that I recognized, that you were definitely in depression. And so, you can only do so much. You can't take somebody. You've got to just tell them they need to see a doctor, and tell the doctor the truth so the doctor can identify. So, but she didn't. And then How bad did it get, Lauren, before you ended up in hospital fighting for your life? I mean, at what point did you say, all right, this is it. I definitely have to get something done? Because by the time she got to hospital, literally it was touch and go as to whether they could save her because of the infection. She said she went septic the day she was admitted. She had a sore on her leg. I'll let Lauren explain it better. She had an infected ulcer. Remember, she's in a wheelchair, and she had, so she had this infected ulcer, and it didn't look too bad to start with, hey, Lauren, and then it got progressively worse. So by the time, and this is the scary part, by the time she went to hospital, she actually was critical. So Lauren, other than the fact that I had to hit you with a verbal 2x4, and for those of you who are listening have never heard this before, if you know, I could tell by what she was telling me that there was a serious issue going on, and I actually stopped being polite towards the end of that, and I just said, if you want to be a child and not look after yourself, that is your right, but this is serious. So if you want to be an adult, I think I would get off your you-know-what and go and see a doctor or get to a hospital now. And she did, thank goodness. It was just like, and it was very difficult. How many of you have had to do that for somebody, which is, this is insane. There's something radically wrong and you're not addressing it. And, the famous words, oh, I'll be okay. I don't know about the rest of you, but yeah, it was really scary. And, bless her heart, she did thank me. She did thank me when she found out. But, I just said to her, I didn't know what else to do for you. You weren't listening to reason. So I had to speak to you like a mother talking to your 5-year-old. It was just like, But the one thing, Lauren, that you now know is you never want to do that again. She says to Sal and Jody, I want to publicly apologize for my behavior. You know something, honey? You know something, Lauren? It is our honor to be your friend. And as friends, we not only, love you to bits, but we also can literally pick up the 2x4 and hit you over the head when you need it. Yes, and Nana is saying the same thing. My neighbor did that to her when she fell, and until she fell, and only then did she agree to an ambulance. Yeah, it's amazing. And Beth is saying infection can sometimes make you not think correctly. She needed a pool noodle instead of a 2x4. No, believe me, she needed a 2x4 that day. Believe me, I tried the pool noodle. I tried the 20 lashes with the wet spaghetti noodle. I tried all of those, and Lauren will tell you. And then, yeah, see, Lauren saying, yes, I definitely needed the 2x4. And oh gosh, it was so difficult to give it to her. And did she die, Nana? Okay, she's just in hospital. She didn't die. Sorry, the way you worded that made me wonder whether she died. All right. Yeah, even Jody tried the wet noodle. Yeah, it didn't work for her either. So the important part is, how many of you agree we all need to be that sort of a friend? Don't just be the nice friend. She's going to be fine. Okay, good. But prayers anyway. Yeah, we will give prayers for your neighbor. No problem, Nana. Wow, Lauren's saying she's having a party in a few weeks. It's in August. I know that. I think, what is it, about a week before mine, isn't it? And it's also a celebration of life. Wow. And she's having surgery on Wednesday. Did you say, Nana? Is that your neighbor that's having surgery on Wednesday? Ah, well, we wish her well. So, everybody, we're going to be talking a bit more today about living in the moment. Yeah, August has always been a busy month for birthdays because why is August a busy month for birthdays? I always think it's a busy month. August and September are busy months for birthdays because actually this print is big enough. I don't need those because it is 8-9 months after. I always think after New Year. I don't know why I always say that, but I do. So here we go. This is, for those of you who are watching for the first time, this is how we do this segment of our broadcast. We have 3 different broadcasts, and I try and have slightly different focuses on each. It says here, you can't have rosy thoughts about the future when your mind is full of blues about the past. Do you remember that one? And it's just so true, all right? Jody, just make a note, if you will, so we can get those dates. I think I've probably got most of them. Oh, her daughter is going to be joining the Sunday broadcast. That's awesome. And Beth, did you have your family committee meeting yet? Time check for 20, it's now 22:30, so let's say it was about 20. And how did that go for you, Beth? And for those of you who are listening, Beth had a family issue that was going on, and she decided to call, a committee meeting of the family and address it properly like adults and go, okay, this is going wrong, and we need to decide as a family how we're going to get this right. So I'm hoping that that worked out for you, Beth, and that you got some positive thoughts and actions going. We were actually talking a bit about this at lunchtime, for those of you who missed the lunchtime broadcast, about how to actually ask for people to do things and how to make sure that they understand that when they say yes to it, it's a commitment. It's not a maybe, I'll do it. It's like, and how I actually, when I need somebody to do something, I will double check that they understand it's something serious. Like, do I understand that you're giving me your commitment that you will do this by this time? I really do try and nail it down so people know this isn't a maybe. All right, so Beth's saying it went well. She agreed to everything and said she wants to be independent. Yay, she wants to grow up. She is going for her permit next week. Awesome. And one of the things she's going to do is come to the broadcast. That's awesome. I'm so pleased, Beth, for you and her. Now, the question is, did you tell her that she must or that she may choose to? We were also talking about control at lunchtime. So here's the next quote. What we do is give a quote and then we talk about what that brings up for us. So the quote here is, be positive and pass it on. How many of you found that actually having a positive attitude is, that it makes a difference in people's lives? I cannot tell you the things that went right this week in so many ways, just because my attitude was not a negative one, as it so happened. Now, it wasn't that I hadn't had negative thoughts, because, I'm a human. But, it was this whole thing, and as you will hear on that broadcast, it was a whole thing about, I really just wanted life to do all the right things for me, and I didn't want to push things or whatever. And if the decisions I was going to make were the right ones, then it would all fall in place. Do any of you believe that? That, if you're constantly fighting against something, the chances are it's probably the wrong thing. I wonder if that makes sense to anybody. So it was amazing to me how many sort of little bits fell into place this week. And I believe that's because I haven't been too tied into anything. It's like, if this is meant to happen, then it will happen. And if it's not meant to happen, then it's not going to happen. And so I'll find out over time. Wow. And Nana's saying that if she has peace, and Nana is a believer, if she has peace, then she knows it's from God. All right. So that is her belief system. And Beth is saying a positive attitude for her changes everything for her. I can overcome more and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And it's not the oncoming train, Beth, And it's, I just wanted to give you kudos as well, Beth, because, Beth was telling us that she actually is going to a group of people who are all, have given up smoking. And it is, a really good thing to do is to be able to go and talk about the things that cause you to smoke. Yeah. So good for you. And did any of you have anything this week that just went the right way instead of the wrong? Okay, I've never heard of that. It's called the Cooper Clayton Stop Smoking Program, and it meets once a week. That's awesome. I'm really pleased. I want to tell you, as somebody that's been, and that hasn't had a cigarette for 6 years coming up, not even a puff. It is amazing to me. I really amazing that and what I've been able to cope with without having a cigarette. It's from the health department. That's awesome. And that's what it should be. You should be able to go as many times as you need to until you actually, get things done like that. All right, here's a great quote, and it says, "Doubt your doubts, not your beliefs." Wow. And Beth, who's always so amazing in her thinking, she says, "I'm not smoking." Way good. How many days now, Beth? But she feels that she needs a group to help focus her. Yeah, I think it's a really good idea if you can, because the thing about smoking is you did it for a reason and you continued it for a reason. And like any addiction, over a month, yay. And I want to tell you something, that the first year is the most difficult because you've got to deal with all the places where you would normally smoke. And I found once I quit smoking for nearly a year, and then something majorly stressful happened, and I thought I'll just have one. I now know, never ever have one. Not one puff, not one anything. Because if you do, you probably will be back doing it. So I don't mind admitting that I was an addict to that. And so congratulations, Beth. I think you're doing an awesome job on yourself. I don't know how you have done all that you've done there. Yeah, and Nana's saying that Rick quit for 5 years and then, had the one, hey, Nana. And Beth is saying here, thanks, I do have the days when I'm stressed and I want one. And I think I need the group setting to continue to be accountable. Yes. And, I actually found, I know it sounds really strange, but I found talking back to the cigarette helped me a great deal. It was so strange because it was like I could feel that, that craving, and I'm going, something, you think you're going to win here. I can feel what you're doing. You want me to have a cigarette, but this is a battle between you and me, and I'm going to win it. So, there is no way. Nana is saying that, Rick was doing fine, and then her son hit 18. I don't know why that made a difference. Hi, Tyler. Is that Tyler in Montana? Let's see if it is. We haven't had too many Tylers in our life, but yes, ma'am. Welcome back, Tyler. Big hugs to you. How many of you remember Tyler from Montana? That's amazing that you found us. How did you find us, Tyler? Well, maybe you just did it the obvious way. So the main thing is, yes, Nana's saying she doesn't blame her son that Rick started to smoke again. That was Rick's choice, right? No, Tyler, I stopped doing Tiny Chat and Vaughn because we kept having so many glitchy problems. It really was an issue. I have said that I would go back for the occasional broadcast. For example, if we did do another one, for example, on makeup or something, because people were talking about that recently, I would do that where we could have full camera, or maybe I would just do it on Hangouts with cameras, because you can do that with Hangouts as well. And we probably could do that, where people could phone in and we'd be able to do it that way. But you cannot believe the number of problems that we had. And I got fed up with every single broadcast. There was another glitch. And it was just like, no, I'd rather go where and I've got to be quite honest. And I think people will tell you the same, that we have had so few problems, other than mine, so few problems here on the live chats here. So that's really good. So I'm very happy with the quality of the system. Now, listen to this one. I really like this. This is, attitudes are a secret power working 24 hours a day for good or bad. The Facebook alerted you to the YouTube. Okay, fine. That's awesome, Tyler. That's why I always say to people, make sure that you haven't, follow theirs, just so that you can know. How many of you have noticed that if you get yourself into a funk, a negative space, that attitude can bring more problem? I wanted to just give you an example of this. I literally was still awake at 6 o'clock this morning, and I hadn't had any sleep. Now, do you understand that part of me wanted to say, well, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, I might as well give up and just start the day. But I knew that the night before I'd only had about 4 hours sleep. And so that was insane to ask my body to do that 2 days in a row. And so what I did was I said, no, you will go to sleep and you will get, even if it's just another 4 hours, you will get some sleep before the first broadcast today. And then between the two broadcasts, I got another couple of hours sleep. So I will catch up on those hours that I've missed, even if it's in little bits, because I know it's really important for my body. So now you're probably wondering, why am I losing sleep at night? There are a couple of reasons. One is because I've had a lot on my mind. And the other is, yeah, because like I think Beth does as well, I play an online game, and a lot of the people that I play with come on later at night. So, it's like they sort of are in the parts of the world where their time clock is different from mine. And so a lot of the people that are in my group, come on later, and I want to be active with them as well. And, once you start doing that, that's a couple of hours gone. So, yes, something then I have heard of sleepies, but I've also heard of the fact that I need to be accountable to myself. What is the game? The game is called March of... good question. March of something. Empires. War of Lords. And it's really funny because I once, Beth, I believe that you play an online game as well. Does anybody else, as a matter of interest? I find that your true character will come out. Hi there, Christy. Good to see you. Yes, Beth plays World of Warcraft. I found that your own character comes out pretty well when you play one of those games. For example, I am on my group, I am the person that welcomes everybody and helps them learn how to play the game, bet, and so forth. But I'm also the person that's gathering all the resources so that the people who like to fight can have enough troops or enough resources. Does that make sense? I really don't have a whole lot of interest in the actual battles as such, except to supply the team, because that's the sort of person I am. And so I find it really interesting that when you play those games, you probably, if you look at it, you probably will find out a lot about people. Who are the people that go into battle without even thinking? I accidentally lent my troops to somebody I thought was very experienced, and they lost nearly all my troops. And, I went, okay, I'm going to be checking out how qualified these people are to use my troops. I don't mind lending them, but, when you send them to the slaughter, I don't like that very much. And so the next time that person asked for troops, I didn't send a whole lot. I sent a few, volunteers. Anybody want to go and die? Because, this guy's not very good. And it's, I gladly do that, Beth. Yeah. It's just a game. Yes, Tyler, I agree with you. I was saying that today, where I sent, I sent my troops out, and half of them got killed, more than half. In fact, nearly all of them got killed. And I was up to over 200,000 troops, and then I was down to like 50. So all that work I'd done to build up all those troops, I had to do it all over again. And it was just like, and I keep remembering, it's just a game. And so, yes, Tyler, I think it's really important when people start getting a little testy. Yeah, and Beth saying that I used to hate it because my husband played it and obviously spent more time doing it. And then she decided, instead of fighting it, why don't I try it? And enjoyed it. Yeah. It's actually, an interesting, I find it very interesting. The other thing is, I'm not sure if any of you can relate this. I get promoted really quickly in these games. You like the 1 minute you just signed on, and the next minute, you got all this responsibility. And the interesting thing is, nobody trains you. You know what I mean? It's just like they suddenly give you this fancy title and all this responsibility, and you don't have the foggiest idea how to do it. But you know me, I will find out. And so, because that's my personality as well. And so I've got another quote for you, and it says, and I wonder how many of you really buy into this one. You are the sole master of your thought processes, right? You control your thought processes. Yeah, we keep blaming other people. Oh, she made me really mad. That's not true, as you've heard many times from me. Other people don't make you mad. Your lack of compassion will make you really mad. Your lack of being able to just set your boundary and not get sucked in will make you really mad. All right. This is not about them. It's about you. It is about how well can you control yourself against all the, if I can use the gaming thing, against all these stones and arrows and everything else of the world. Yeah, Christy. Thanks, Christy. Christy's saying that she totally agrees with that. It took me a long time to get it, though, Christy. I don't know about you. That this is not about them. You know, this life is about me. And one of the things I said, I don't know if any of you can relate to this, because I am very seriously about to negotiate to buy a huge fifth wheel, you know, one of those luxury ones, and live in a trailer park out of choice. Now, and one of the things I said this week, I think my biggest problem is going to be trying to explain that to people, why I would make that choice. But I really do want to find out whether I can lower my carbon footprint, whether I can actually live within, I think it's about 500 square feet instead of 2,400. You know, it's like, can I do this? Because if I can, my whole life will change in many ways. You know, I'll be able to afford to go to the dentist. I will be able to, if something happens to my car, I won't have to stress too much about getting it fixed. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I do this that way and can enjoy my life doing it, I will actually be able to live my life better. Yeah, Tyler's making an interesting point. People who blame video games for violence need to wake up. It's a video game. People need to realize the difference between fantasy and reality. Yes, however, I do want to say, and I've got to say this, Tyler, and I think anybody who has ever done online dating will tell you that the fantasy of doing that sort of stuff does have an effect on you, and it's very real. So I've got to tell you that although I hear you, I also have to say I'm not 100% in agreement with you. I do believe that I didn't want to play a game that was shooting and killing people, a very high stress type thing. I wanted to do one where, you know, I could just play when I wanted to. And so to me, I think to some degree, some of those ones where, you know, you're busy with your guns and you're shooting everything that comes around the corner. I think that does bring out a lot of hostility in people, and it brings out the worst in people. But as I said earlier, Tyler, I think what it brings out is what you have inside you. And so on the other side, I agree with you that, you know, that you don't bring out violence in people unless they have it in them. By the way, do you believe that we all have some level of violence in us? Hi, Papa Pan. Yes, you see, Beth actually uses her playing games to, you know, to get rid of her frustrations. Instead of taking it out on other people, you know, she actually takes it out on the game. I think that's a very healthy use of a game, Beth. I really do. You know, rather than kick the dog or scream at your family, you know, let me go and play this game for a while and get rid of that. Papa Pang, thank you for your kind compliment. That's very kind of you. So how many of you, and this is the next quote in the series here, which is, how many of you start your day with a positive quote? How many of you do actually get up in the morning and say something positive to yourself? Yeah, Beth is saying, and then after she's got rid of her frustration, then she calms down and then likes to play games where she can do, be productive and do stuff. Yeah, that's, I'm very task oriented. And by the way, Beth, hi, ubiquitous cyclone. Wow. Welcome. I wonder where we're getting these new people from today. Welcome, anyway. And so, one of the things that I found about being a gamer is, oh, that's good. Hi, Erin. Good to see you. I found that being a gamer, that one of the things that's interesting to me is that somebody, for example, gave me, okay, DCCC. I know that you're having fun with this, but I do want to tell you that if I ban you from here, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you on YouTube. I'd rather not do that. So I'm going to ask you, please, to just be aware that this is an adult group, not a children's group. So if you're going to talk like a child, find another program to do that in. Because as an adult, I am going to have to, yeah, don't worry. These things happen. I'm not quite sure why we're getting it today. So the thing that I found anyway about these games is that my management experience gets very frustrated, when I play these games, because I've managed quite a few people in my life, and so I know how to bring new people into a company or do whatever, And I keep finding in these games they just give you a title and expect you to just do the job. Hi, King. Good to meet you. I want to tell you something, Tyler. We have not had trolls on. We have not had trolls here at all. But the good news is that what will happen now is that because of the language, the automatic filters will start in, and Jodie's handling them really well. So thank you, Jodie. No, something, funny enough, I was saying the reason we came here is because we don't get the trolls, and then here we do tonight. So that's why I'm wondering why did that happen tonight? I'm not sure, but that's life, right? And Jodie's doing a great job. So start every day with an inspiring thought. So I just wanted to say that, like Erin said, she tries every day to have an inspiring thought. That's how she starts her day. I would really recommend. I have all sorts of books in my life of different quotes of different subjects. And I really recommend having a book and just turning it over. Some of you who are believers, will read a passage of the Bible every morning and start your day on thinking about that. Oh, something, Cyclone, you're right. Holiday time, right? Never mind. Maybe they'll learn something. So I wanted to explain to you where my mind, why I ended up not getting any sleep. And for those of you who know me well, you'll probably be able to imagine this. I actually had a situation where I started to realize that next week I could end up doing a deal to get this unit that I've looked at. If I do, then my whole life as I see it will change completely. And what I started to think was, how would I start moving things around? And it was really interesting. The first thing I did was I realized I would need to do the measurements inside the unit. But being me, I've never had this happen, Papa Pang. I don't know why this is happening here tonight, but we will deal with it as best we can. And thank you to the moderators who are helping. The interesting thing was, yes, change is good. That's the thing is, I could choose for it to be exciting or very stressful. And so what I did, And it was to say, okay, there's got to be a floor plan of this unit on the internet. And of course, I found it, exactly the unit that I'm thinking of. And then what I knew, I had one piece of information. I knew this one slide out on this unit was 17 feet long because I had been told that. And so I knew that this amount of space was equals 17 feet. How many of you can imagine? I then put that on a piece of graph paper, and I changed it, until I got it where I wanted to. And now I could actually work out how many feet each room was and how many, it was amazing how much I started to get done. And then I started to measure my furniture to work out what bits of furniture would fit in there, not many, but which ones would I like and would they fit in? And if not, what am I going to do with them? So it was, and once you start that, I'm certain, Beth, you can relate to that. Once you start on something like that, it's like, that can consume a lot of hours without you realizing. It's as absorbing. It's as absorbing as, playing a game. So I want to say that whenever we make changes in our life, it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to scare us stupid, or it is going to have good things come to us, right? And so to me, it's very exciting to actually sort of go through that process. So I just realized that, how often I talk to you about life will continue to bring you mirrors. And I'm really seeing that each of these things that come up for me is a mirror, and I can choose how I deal with it, right? And so what I decided was I just need to just take each bit as life brings it to me and work on it as best I can. So, Cyclone, you're going to end up getting banned as well if you're not careful. Just don't lower yourself to that level unless that's what you choose to do. When people are rude to you, you don't have to be rude back. Right? You don't have to be rude back. You can just ignore it. And I appreciate the fact that you were trying to protect me, but I don't need that. We've got moderators for that. And Tyler, don't let them mess with your brain here. I don't know why we have got this going on tonight, but we have. Yeah, just let it be. Just keep going backwards. So I say keep going backwards, but keep moving forwards is what I'm saying. Yeah, just carry on. Very important. I'm just thinking, do I have any more? Is Jody my only moderator here tonight? Is anybody else a moderator? Because this has never happened, no. But it's okay. That's why we have moderators. But I just want to make sure that I can do that. Would anybody else who is a regular watcher and that is not a moderator at the moment, would anybody else like to help with this? And we will train you on what to do. Thank you, Beth. I was hoping you might say that. Let me see if I can make you a mod. Yeah. All right. So welcome to our new moderator, Beth. Beth, just check with your mouse. I think what you do is if you right click on it or you left click on it, it'll give you the option to put people on timeout. So, all right. So yeah, Aaron definitely knows, huh? Oops, hang on a second. It's a right click, I think. There are three. If you put your cursor at the end of somebody's name, it will. Yeah, and by the way, if people continue to be rude after we've given them a chance, so I'm not going to make you a mod, honey. Just report them, because then YouTube will have serious. YouTube, if you report them, YouTube can see what they said. If they start being really rude, just report them. I give them a warning, a timeout, and if they continue, just report them. For example, that one and that one. Isn't that amazing? You got to be careful what you talk about, because why is it I was talking about why we moved away from the other places, and now we got this coming in. Never mind, let's carry on. So so anyway, here we go. The truth is, this is it's crazy. I know it's never happened. But the thing is, it's a great example of life, right? This happens in life where we think that we are fine. And then suddenly life brings us, something completely different. And so to me, this is what life is about. Life, but what? How many months have we been here on YouTube? We've been here for broadcasting here for probably 6 months, I would think. Never had this happen. But today it's going to happen. Now, if we're lucky, we might actually meet somebody here that is a decent person that wants some help. And so let's just be aware that one of these people that comes in might actually be here for the right reasons. And the rest of them that are rude, and insulting, we will deal with. All right. How many of you believe this one? And this is a quote that I love, and it says, "The very act of believing creates strength of its own." So as I was talking about lunchtime, that the interesting thing is that we get to decide how we're going to deal with everything in life, right? Are we going to get angry about, young people acting disrespectfully, or are we just going to use the tools that we've been given? And so to me, it's like, okay, am I going to just allow life to flow in the direction it's meant to? Or am I going to force it to go in my direction? And I decided I'm not going to do that with this. This is too big a decision for me. And so if any of you have any major decisions that you need to make, there are times when you just need to take a deep breath and go, I don't have to stress out about this, because if it's meant to happen, it'll go right. How many of you believe that? The very act of believing that creates its own strength. And the example that I gave at lunchtime was that the man had asked for an amount of money for this unit that I went away and did some research. And when I did the research, I realized that this was an insane amount of money he was asking for, although I probably would have considered it because I liked what he was selling. But it was definitely overpriced. So what I did was I then didn't phone him up and say, I think this is grossly overpriced and da-da-da-da-da. I didn't do any of that. I just left it. I just didn't go the next step. And then this week, I get a text from the guy, and he goes, "Hey, Sally, you still interested?" And I said, "Yes, please. I am." And he said, well, "Tell me your thoughts." And I actually texted him back, and I said, "Hey, you know something? I did a lot of research, and I didn't want to be rude because I really think it's more than a little bit overpriced." And I didn't want to be rude, and that's why I haven't got back to you. And so then he texted me back and said, "That's okay. What did you think was a fair price?" Does that make sense? That's what he asked me. "What do you think?" And I wrote back and I said, "Well, from the research that I did, the unit is probably worth this amount, and all that you've done to improve it, even if I doubled it, which probably is more than it deserves, but I think it would be this amount." And that amount was 30,000 less than he had asked. Can you believe that? And I then went yikes, this is, I didn't want to be rude. And I told him that I don't want to be rude, but this is what I think. And he texted me back and said, hey, Sal, it was worth a try. So can you think about that, right? It was like, he wasn't angry at me. He just said, hey, it was worth a try. And I said, yeah, it was. Unfortunately, I did my homework. So what I think is that I didn't actually expect him to do what he did, because he came back and with the price a little bit above what I had said. It was just like he came down $30,000, if you can believe it. And so to me, it's really important that we understand, if you have the right attitude and it's meant to be, the chances are it will work in some way. Now, I still haven't done the deal, and I won't believe that I will do it until I'm actually in there and broadcasting. By the way, that was one of the questions I asked myself. If I get this thing, where am I going to broadcast from? No, I haven't counted back. Oh, I did counter back, if you like, Nana. Yes, that's a good question. Thank you. What I texted back when I got that was, this sounds like we need a steak and a beer. In other words, we need to get together now. We're close enough now that we need to sit down. All right? And he went, what a great idea. Because now we're close enough that we need to sit down and really, we'll probably come, we're still 5,000 apart. So, I'm pretty sure we're going to end up in the center. It's a big 40-foot luxury fifth wheel. And so this is going to require that I literally downsize everything. Another 3/4 will need to go. Can you imagine downsizing that much? In other words, that I will only be able to take 1/4 of what I own today with me, and it won't be my furniture. Why is it really nasty, Anna? Because here's what my thinking is, and some of you have known this. What I'm going to do is just take the 1/4 with me, if I get this deal done, and go live. But I don't know whether I will be able to survive in 500 square feet. Oh yeah, just ignore them, really. And so here's what happens is that what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. Think about this for logic. The one thing is, when I sell my place, I'm going to lock up enough money to buy an apartment. I'm going to take that money and lock it away, because I want to live a full year in 500 square feet to find out whether I go insane or whether I actually have adapted. I wonder if that makes sense to people. I want to go through a whole winter, in the Pacific Northwest, where it rains a lot, where it's, you've got to find out, is there enough light during all those wet months? And so I'm going to lock away that money so that if I need to, I can, at the end of the year, go and buy something. And so then, if you think about it, that is sort of my plan B. Yes, and an apartment can also go down a lot, Nana. So, to me, I can look at the negative of it, but if I don't try it, I will not know. And to me, it's what I want to do. So that's why I'm going to look at it. So that money is going to be locked away. The other part of it is that I will take the furniture that I really don't want to get rid of necessarily, and I will put that into storage. In other words, I won't be in a hurry to get rid of my beautiful huge glass table and my fancy chairs and everything. I will put that away. Christy, it's a pleasure. I'm so sorry that this is going on. It's very unusual. It never happened to us here, so that's interesting. So to me, I'm actually thinking about how do I put these things into place for a year so that I don't, for example, if at the end of the year I still want to go into an apartment, then I will still have the furniture. Yes, you are a moderator, Nana. You've got a wrench next to your name. That means you're an operator, that you're a moderator. So does that make sense to you all? So now I'm literally putting in my head, I'm trying to place everything into boxes. This is what I will want to take with me. This is what I'm going to put away. And this is what I can throw away now. And so, it's very important that I think about that before it becomes a stressful situation. And I realize the whole thing that I realize is that everything that I've already put into the garage is probably stuff I could throw away because I've lived without it now for nearly 6 months. Yeah, Erin's saying storage is a good idea. Your dad couldn't be bothered to get storage, but I still think, but that's what you think. Maybe he wanted to get rid of that stuff. That's what you might want to think about, Erin, that maybe that is what he needed to do. And by the way, big round of applause to Beth and to Jody for all the hard work they're doing this evening with all this trolling going on. Isn't that weird? So to me, I ask you all to see what is coming at you and go, there's got to be a good reason for this. I'm not sure what it is right now, but there's got to be a good reason for this. And I just need to deal with it. And so I look at it and go, how sad that people find amusement in being rude, right? And I find that sad. Do any of you sort of relate to that? I don't want to be angry at them. I just want to say how sad that that's how you get your jollies in life. So sad. And well, I think that being bullied, I was bullied at school, Zara. I didn't pull out a gun. The best way I dealt with the bullies? I lived a life that showed them I wasn't the loser that they thought I was. It was quite simple. You're entitled to think what you like of me. It's not my issue. You see, what you think of me, as Terry Cole Whitaker said, what you think of me is none of my business. Why would I go out and get a gun? Although I could shoot. I grew up in a farm and I'm a good shot. But it's not about killing people. Why would we bring out a gun? Why don't we have a conversation? Why don't we just ignore them? Yeah, Jody was also bullied at school. How about anybody else? Was anybody else bullied at school? So I think, when you look at it, it's like, that is not an excuse to bring out a gun. That is a time to actually get control of your life and, and deal with it a different way. To me, it's like the reason that bullies succeed is because people give them room to succeed. I love what YouTube does. If we report any of these people, YouTube will be banning them. They'll check to see what they said. And if they broke the code of ethics of YouTube, they will ban them. So, my attitude is, let me use here. It's like, why am I so old? Well, hello, I've lived long enough to be old. It's just like, yeah, Erin was bullied. Yeah, see, I think most people have been bullied at some times, but they didn't bring out guns to deal with it. That's not the way you deal with it. That's just that is to bring out a gun to deal with it. I think is a total lack of self-discipline. And so to me, it's like no. Yes, that's a very good question, Tyler. Yes, how's that old man? He was the one that was attacked with a brick. Am I right, Tyler? What sort of coward, seriously, what sort of coward attacks a 90-year-old man with a brick? Yeah, it's like, and why? Why would you do that to a human being? It's beyond my comprehension. So to me, it's like, this is what's going on. And I think we have every reason to be concerned about it. We are blocking them. Nana, we are blocking these people, but we have to actually get the comment going before we can block them. But we're doing that. I can see that the team is blocking them. And by the way, do you want to know how to do it, Nana? Is that what you're asking? How do you block these people? Not can we? Yes. Okay. So, Nana, if you go to the end of the line, take your cursor to the end of the line of one of those comments and right click it, you have a choice to report them, put them on a timeout, or hide this user. And I would suggest let's just hide the users because we just don't want to say. If we don't see what they're saying, we can't react to it. So first of all, timeout. If they do a second one, I would just hide them. Yes, I would agree. It's clearly a group of friends messing around. And it's, hey, you know something? Oh, you're talking about Paul. How's he doing? Oh, okay, got it. Good question, Tyler. He came in a couple of weeks ago, but I think he had a hidden agenda as to why he came in. But we did find out that he said he was okay, but I really don't know, quite honestly. Um, but maybe there's somebody here that is in regular contact with him. Thanks, Beth. You're doing an awesome job, Beth. You're enjoying it. And Jody is very grateful. So you guys, you understand this is what teamwork is all about. So I look at it and go, you have the power, right? You, the moderators, have the power. They don't. You have the power. And I love what you're doing. And this is like, you've got the tools to do what you want to do. Just hide the comments. That's what we're doing. And if you find that they come back up again and make a second rude comment, just ban them. And, YouTube will deal with them. But make sure the comments are such so that when YouTube reads the comment, they're going to know exactly why we banned this person. Does that make sense? because believe me, I've worked with the YouTube people sitting right next to me. For some of you who know that I do the Dancember broadcast, I assure you that I literally, when I do the Dancember broadcast, I have 2 YouTube people doing what you guys are doing nonstop through the 24 hours. They are with me all the way because they know that it will happen. You know, unfortunately, it's life. Isn't that interesting? Nana, Jodi's a little bit busy at the moment, so she might not be able to PM you. So, you know, she's busier than she's ever been on a broadcast. So, but if you have a question about being a moderator that I can help you with, just write it down and we will do that. So, what was the title of today's broadcast that I brought this upon myself? Live your life? You can help her, Nana. What is it you don't know how to do, honey? I told you how to do it. When you see a bad comment, just put your cursor to the end of that line and click the 3 dots. When you click the 3 dots, you're going to get a choice to report them, remove them, put this user in a timeout, or to hide them. That's the choice you'll have, and you just make that decision. I would suggest put them on a timeout first. Live the moment, yeah. So do you understand that this is here for a learning lesson for us all? How do we cope, right? Well, it's not ban them. You can report them, but don't report them immediately. Give them a chance to have a timeout first. Jodi, I want to really compliment you. You've used a very level head on this one, right? What Jodi has done is she's put them on a timeout. If they come back a second time, she'll just hide them. If the hiding comes back out again and they then make another bad comment, I'm pretty sure that she will report them. So, and Beth as well. You guys have done an awesome, awesome job. And what I'd like to say is think about how many things you've got to juggle in your head to be able to do that. Now, I also understand that some people think what they're doing is amusing. So I don't want to have them banned off YouTube forever, but I would like them to just have, you know, an opportunity to think about it. So that's why I love that we just put them on timeout. If they continue, then report them. Yeah, they think it's fun. Let's see how much fun they think it is if they get thrown off YouTube. So but can you understand that to me, this is amazing how we attracted this evening. Why, after all these months, did this happen this evening? I have no idea, but it is what it is, and we will deal with it. And Jodi, you've done an awesome job. Beth, did you learn some new skills this evening? Can you see that there's a plus side to this? I can. And so I look at you all. Yeah, it's just unreal, isn't it? But remember, did school get out? Yeah, and you know, Nana, we thank you for doing it too. If you're managing to do it, it's really important. It is, you know, we got great team of people doing the best they can to control it, and you probably won't be able to control it all, but boy, you're doing an awesome job. So I go, yeah, apparently kindergarten is out. Yes, not school, kindergarten. But you know, it is what it is. So yeah, go play video games or something, right? But what I can't work out is what did we do to create this? That's what I'd like to know. We, you know, in 6 months of being here, we haven't had this happen once. So why, what maybe we can ask them. So, Dog Corgi, what made you come into the room? Seek first to understand. What made you come into the room? Did somebody suggest you come in and and troll us, or yeah, it's like a flash flood, a monsoon. So I'd really be interested to hear. It's sad, isn't it? Yeah. But but the interesting thing is to me that it happened. And I'm literally going, yeah, really, what did we do to attract this? But it's all right because live the moment. And I'm looking at it going, there must be a mirror in here somewhere. I just wanted to check with Jody. Jody, did you find you were really stressed at the beginning of this, but as your skills improved, you managed to relax a bit? I just wanted to check whether that's a reality. What about Beth? Beth, did you find, you were angry at the beginning of it and then you just got bored and just did the job and just, let them go? There you see what Jody's saying, right? When she started, she was quite stressed, and now she's stealth. This is like, bring them on. You see, Jody, and I want you to be really proud of your skill set. I really want you to be so proud of yourself because you did this without complaining. You just did the job that needed to be done. Then Beth, I'd like to give you 10 out of 10. How many of you noticed that Beth automatically said, I can do this? Yes, Beth, we know this of Beth, right? I have a job to do. I will succeed, right? What do I know about Beth's work ethic? And, and, Nana, of course, being the supportive person that she is, tell me how to do this. I don't know how to do it. And, I can give you the title, but I don't know how to do it. So, I look at it and I go, do you understand that this was a magic moment? Right? This is a magic moment. Yes, look at what good work, good teamwork, absolutely. And the thing is, did Jody even ask for help? Why not, Jody? Beth could just see what was happening to you and imagined, and then Beth's going, okay, I got to help her now. You see, awesome, that is great teamwork. But Jody, I let you do whatever you wanted to do, but you did not ask for help. Oh, and Erin's saying, I was completely terrified to do this the first time. Because you're frightened of hiding the wrong people. All right, so I totally understand that. Yes, Jody, she was too busy to ask for help. You see, her wish to protect me, think about this, people. This is wonderful stuff. Her wish to protect me and us was greater than her need to ask for help. Yes, Beth, and that is what great teamwork is. I want to quote what Beth is saying. We know each other so well now. We know when to step up. Yes, and that's what the whole thing is, Nana. Nana is saying it's like you jump and hit the wrong one. The trick is don't just blindly cancel people out. How many of you remember Oz? How many of you miss Oz? And I always tell people, with the name that Oz had, I could have judged him just on his name. And I didn't. And then he absolutely insulted me, but I could tell it was in humor. I could have nuked him right there. And I have to tell you something that everything in my bones told me, give this guy some space. Don't nuke him, give him some space. And what we subsequently find out, and those of you who've been around a long time with me know that at that time, he was in incredible pain and on very high painkillers. He had fallen out of a third floor window and broken his ankles, his heels, and other parts. I think impacted his legs, and he was in incredible pain and on painkillers. And what was happening was I was listening to the drugs talking right at the beginning. Yes, sometimes it can be a cry for help. And I never nuked him. And he turned out to be one of the best friends I've ever made on YouTube. When I say that, Ozzy and I still keep in touch. He might not necessarily come to the broadcast. How many of you know that just even at the mention of his name, for those of you who were around in those times, just the mention of his name makes you laugh? Because we laughed so much when he was around. And why did we laugh so much? Because he was always picking on me, and you guys all loved it. I want to tell you something, Aaron, whenever I think about him, I smile. And, occasionally I'll get some text from him, and I will text him and go, "Are you still alive, buddy? I want to know," And he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. Yes, that story of how he broke his legs. It's one of the funniest stories you can hear, in my view. And we lived it at least twice, where he retold the story, and I still laugh. I mean, to me, it's a wonderful. How much of it is true? I'm still trying to find that out, and I think it is. That's the scary part. I don't think he made a lot of it up. Yes, Tyler's saying the guy made me pee in my pants, but I could have nuked him so easily, and I didn't. I just didn't react to everything. And then suddenly he calmed down. And then I found out, we found out, didn't we? Incredible sense of humor, very smart cookie. By the way, very talented man. You wouldn't necessarily think that from some of the things, but a very talented man in many, many ways, and held a very high responsible job. This was the joke. He wasn't the idiot that we thought he was at the beginning. So actually, Aaron, one of the reasons I had him repeat the story, many months later, was to see how much of it still, Aaron, you know me pretty well. I wanted him to repeat that story 6 months later or whatever it was, because I wanted to see how much of the story stayed the same. And I don't know if you can remember it. Hi, Kerry. I don't know if you can remember it, but it was almost completely the same story. He wasn't from Montana. But what and I don't know about the rest of you. I think, yes, Aaron, I think the greatest gift he brought us was his humor and his heart. I can tell you that there were days when, I had death threats against me, that he was doing what the catfish people do to protect me, right? He was doing stealth work in the background to find out who these people were that were threatening my life. And, things like that. And so when I most needed help, who was the person, not publicly, but behind the scenes, who was protecting me? Oz. So I will never, ever forget that. I will always remember that when I really needed him, Beth, the same as you did, right? When Jody really needed help, you stepped up and helped her. And I can remember when I've always said that you will know when you have a friend, not when things are going well, but what they do when things are not going well. That's when you find out the level of your friends. because it's very easy to be friendly with somebody when things are going right. I actually find that with my friends, I might not talk to them a whole lot, but whenever that stuff happens, they know I'm going to be there for them in some way. And I think it's really important. I think that's part of what being a friend is. We can sort of be casual friends, but boy, when the stuff goes wrong, that's when you need to be really there. Nana, I keep thinking about the fact that you are, I'm sure, an incredible friend to your friends. Yes, Erin, you're finding out who your real friends are, right? Yes, that's very true. And how are you finding that out, Erin? The other thing is, Erin, I found out that you can make mistakes, and hurt people. But if they actually do like you as a human, they'll come back. They'll forgive you and come back. Or if you hurt them or they hurt you, I've always said this in life, that if you've got enough, what I call love glue, if you respect the person enough, then this was just a little blip. You need time for the emotion to die down, but then you will be able to get back and have a relationship. It'll take a little while for the trust to rebuild. So Carrie is saying that she's busy talking in her sleep. Yeah, I want to tell you that sleep talking is something that is important. You may want to do some research on that, Carrie. What causes people to sleep talk? I've met people that actually wake up screaming. People do funny things in their sleep, and it normally is with good reason. For example, I kept waking up choking. Apparently, it was because I was. It was a good reason why I kept waking up choking. And when I found out what the reason was, I'm going, thank goodness I woke up choking, because I actually had stopped breathing. Yeah, Kerry, you got to think about this, that it's really important to understand that, even as friends, you can make mistakes. Right. And Erin, what you're saying is that your real family, although they're very close, haven't bothered to contact you. It's like, yeah, people can be very selfish. And you very rarely hear from the people you thought were your friends. Yes. And so to me, Erin, I think it's really important. The thing I really value about doing Dear Mama Sal, and I've got to say that, I do know, I do know that we have given people some real friends, not pretend friends. We've also given them, pretend friends, but they were those sort of people. But I do know that in doing Dear Mama Sal, we have brought people together at a very interesting level. I also know that we are responsible for at least one relationship, which is awesome, and so to me, it's really part of what we do, right? We are a family. And as a family, we will have dysfunctional moments. That's life. None of us is perfect. But I do honestly believe that, even if people have gone off and been rude to me or something and gone off, I believe that people come back. And I hope they will still trust to come back if they need us. That's all I care about. I don't care that you were rude to me, but come back if you need us. And if you've got character, you will probably apologize for being rude. Yeah, Kerry, and think about that, Kerry. Have you found out why do you talk in your sleep? And I quite honestly, I'd get on the internet and find out what causes that. Does anybody know? because I've got a very clever group of people that are part of the broadcast. Does anybody know why we sleep talk? I like to think, Kerry, that, I always talk about the librarian in my head that I call Jones. I think it has to do with what your mind is filtering. And it is associating things. And then I believe that there's certain things connect at a level, and, you literally answer what is happening. I believe the people that wake up, screaming, something is filtering that is really scary for them. And it's scary enough that they're actually screaming in real life. So to me, I don't wonder, I research it. Yes, Beth. Now, do you know why, Beth? Beth's saying when she goes to sleep with anxiety, she dreams of drowning. Yes, and Erin's saying the really weird thing is the people I hear from are the people that I've met in the last couple of years. And the people, yeah. No, Beth, I wanted to explain something to you, just so that you know. Water, whenever you dream of water, all right, whether it's flowing, whether it is overwhelming you, like in drowning, whenever you dream of water, it is about emotions. So if you dream about water flowing, maybe it's a babbling brook, that is peaceful. You understand your emotions are under control. They're just flowing naturally. If you dream of water, that you're drowning in water, it means you've got so much emotion going on that you are drowning in that emotion. If you are diving into water, all right, this is like, yeah, there's a lot of emotion going on, but it's not controlling me. I can actually dive in and enjoy swimming in it. So think about that when you know that water is the key. Yes, Kerry is saying, it's amazing. I didn't expect us to be having a conversation about dreams, but we always go with the flow. So that's awesome. Anybody finding this interesting? No, Beth is saying, this is morbid, but I'm sure that when I die, I'm going to die in water. I think take this, Beth, and have a look at it. Will your anxiety end up drowning you? Or are you, I don't think so, because you're getting control. You see, I think you're getting control of your emotions. I think you're getting control of your codependency. I think you're getting control of the fact that you don't need to turn yourself into a pretzel for people to like you. So I actually don't agree with you, but that's just my feeling. Tyler is saying, it all has to do with your brain. Yeah, all 2 cells of mine. I've been asked by friends and family before, why do you talk in your sleep? I don't know, I'm sleeping. I don't know, I'm sleeping, right? I don't know what I do in my sleep half the time. Exactly. I can remember one specialist. I was I was having a stress test done in a hospital, and the guy said to me, how do you sleep? And I looked at him and I said, I know this may sound strange, but I turn over normally onto my left-hand side and I close my eyes and go to sleep. How do you sleep? And he goes, I didn't mean that. And I said, then learn to ask a better question. And the guy burst out laughing. How do you feel is another classic one. I don't know, when I'm really functioning well, people say, how do you feel? I go, I put my hand out and I touch something. How do you feel? Oh, that's really interesting. Beth's saying that her husband tells jokes in his sleep and laughs at himself. Wow, isn't that interesting? That's really... Yeah, but what I'm saying, Kerry, is, there's a good reason why you talk in your sleep. Do the research, study it. I think that's what's so wonderful about the internet today, is that we can study anything we want to, if we want to. If I want to do a program about something, a broadcast about something, Today, I can just go on the internet and I can find, I will go to medical places. I won't go to what somebody thinks about it. I will go to medical places and I'll do the research there. And then I will try and, work that into putting it in English so people can understand it. We should do, that's a guilt word, we should do a sleep study topic one day. Like what, Beth? It's great. I just want to make sure I've got the right idea in my mind. Your brother did after your mom died. He talked in his sleep. Okay, so here's Erin. She said, when you sleep talk, it's because you've got too much going on. And because you're stressed, even if you don't realize you are, subliminally you are distressed or scared about something. And I totally, so, it's, yes, Kerry, restless leg syndrome is very important to know about. By the way, would you like to know how to fix that? If your legs are throwing out like this during your sleep, that's restless leg syndrome. And there is something you can take that's an over-the-counter medication for that, because I take it. When I found out I had restless leg syndrome going on, one of the things... Yeah, actually you can buy something called CalMed. It's calcium, wait a minute. CalMag, yeah. So calcium and magnesium. And you can buy it in a joint. It's actually magnesium, not potassium. Yes, you see, you were stressed about your car situation and work. Yeah. I take CalMag every night. Every night I take it. And it really helped a great deal. So, Kerry, you can understand. Yeah, and it's it's not expensive stuff. It's pretty, especially you can get the generic of it. Yes, and so this is like, Beth, I'm still trying to find out, what would you like to have me discuss? How to not have these things go on? Or what is it exactly that you saw? Because I didn't get the same picture. You suggested that we do something about it, but I'm trying to find what it is that you would like discuss. How many of you, talking about politics, what about the news? How many of you heard that starting August the 1st, Americans are going to be allowed to print 3D guns at home without having to do a background check or anything else? Oh, you'd like to do something about dreams and what they mean. Okay. So, Beth, have you got it in your brain now? Whenever you dream about water, it is about emotion. And depending on what the water is doing is what this is about. If I say to you, tell me what the water was doing, and you say, well, actually, it was just flowing out of a tap. All right? What if it's bubbling like this? What if it's huge, big waves over, you get a pretty good idea. Erin, you bet it's scary. We have now got to the technology where they won't need to go and smuggle guns. They will just be able to 3D print them at home. Luckily, at the moment, they are not very good and they blow up a lot. But, can you imagine this? We're going to allow people to literally print their own guns at home. Now, I'd like this technology when we were going to be able to print our own shoes at home. Yes, so you see, Beth, in so many of your instances, the water is overwhelming you, all right? That's emotion. You're angry, because somewhere in your subconscious, you're really getting angry about the fact you're doing so much for everybody and they're not pulling their weight. And as you already know, that's because you're not getting them to. And you'll find that as you get more control over your life, Beth, those dreams will calm down. By the way, Beth, let me just ask you another question. If I said to you, I don't know what a car is, what is a car? What does it do? What would you answer? What is a car? And what does it do? Now, I'm asking Beth because she's the one that's dreaming about a car. It's really important that she understands what a car is in her life. And that's the sort of discussion I gather that you are talking about, right? You'd like to know more about that. It is a vehicle to allow me to get away from everyone fast. Now, I'm certain other people would have answered differently. So, but you know, a car represents what you're running away from. All right. You know, or what you're trying to find. How many of you have had dreams about cars where you got lost? And you're in your car and you're lost. How many of you had those dreams? So, and you know, yes, for you, your car is your freedom. Now think about that. You're dreaming about your freedom, but you're still getting overwhelmed by the water. All right. So your freedom, if you think about it, your freedom is to control the water. If you can control the water, you will have achieved freedom. Tyler is saying, okay, the whole gun issue is one thing, but 3D printing guns is a whole other issue. It's just asking for mass shootings. I agree. Yeah, and Tyler lives in Montana, you know, known to like their guns, you know. And so, you know, yeah, Tyler, I think it's insane. I think it's totally insane. But I'm hoping that they are busy cataloging everybody that's printing their own guns. And by the way, I was saying at lunchtime, how many of you read or heard that yesterday or today, I think it was, Facebook lost $118 billion in one day. Its stock price dropped 19% in one day. And the fascinating thing about it was that losing $118 billion, Mark Zuckerberg's wealth dropped only 2 places in the world's top wealthiest people. After losing $118 billion. How come? Right, that's a good question. What actually he did, Beth, is Mark Zuckerberg, because he got caught on this whole thing about the election, you know, and the Russians and everything on the last election, he has made it a commitment that he is going to make Facebook safe for people. And he's going to make privacy something that is important on Facebook. And he is not going to let this happen again, right? But what happened is the market, the people who invest money, know that's going to cost a whole lot of money and that he's going to lose a lot of viewers because of it. And therefore, the market started to sell off Facebook shares and the market plummeted. But it plummeted 20% just about in one day. So you imagine if your salary dropped by 20% in one day, boom. But you know, I know that 20% for him was horrific, but it's all on paper, right? It's just the supposed value is on paper. So that dropped him only 2 places on the big scheme of things, and the most wealthiest people in the world. Jody did the research, and I think she said he dropped from number 6 to number 8. So I think that is really interesting to look at. And I do believe that he is doing the right thing. And I know from a 4 to 6, thank you, right? He dropped from number 4 in the world's most wealthy people to number 6 after losing 118 billion with a B. How will he afford to eat? Yeah, that's what I said. Pocket change for him. I mean, he felt it. I'm sure he felt it. And I'm sure he was sad for all his stockholders. But this is what we're going to do. And I know we'll take a hit, but he's decided to do the right thing. And I give him, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm going good for you. Good for you. I'm glad. It's the same thing as I was saying at lunchtime, that it was like that Bill Gates, when he retired, could have just walked away and spent the rest of his life, spending his money in ways that amused him. But he didn't. He started foundations and used his wealth to better the world. And I think people like Gates and Mark now, Zuckerberg, and a few others, Warren Buffett, people like that, are starting to see that they have the power to change the world. Yes, the guy who owns Amazon, Tyler's reminding us, the guy that owns Amazon is now worth over $150 billion. Yeah, incredible, right? And who would have thought? When he started Amazon, who would have thought that this was possible? All right, so guys, thank you for hanging in here. Thank you for not letting the trolls ruin your life. I want to tell you that we couldn't have done this and carried on broadcasting without Jody and Beth and Nana coming up and helping deal with it. But do you see that having dealt with it, it quietened down? And why? Because the reason I like YouTube is it does listen. When they see something's going wrong, they actually do react. All right. And what happened was they started to put big filters in for us. And that's why you need to be a little bit careful if you're a moderator, because the filters they could put in, could end up affecting people that we like, because they will just do that. Tyler, I want to tell you how great it was to see you again. And Jody, if you could make a note on that one that Tyler came in, because there are going to be a lot of people. Tyler, is there any news that we need to tell the people who know you that maybe still read Facebook but don't necessarily join the broadcast? Well, I want to tell you something. I appreciate that, Tyler. And I'm going to make you a mod right now. Because I know you'd always, I don't know why, I hope you understand this. I always felt that you would always have my back if I needed it. You're like another Oz. You're full of BS and stuff when you want to be, but boy, I think you're made of the right stuff. Yeah, I know you love me. You show me that all the time, Tyler. Right? And I probably, Tyler, in a lot of ways, am the opposite of anybody you thought you were ever going to like. But I do appreciate that you are kind. And the same, Tyler, as I hope you know, that I feel the same way. If I always say to people, one of the questions I ask myself is, would I want to, paddle down the Amazon River with this person, right? In other words, when things go wrong, would I want this person close to me and to protect me or watch out for me or whatever? And the answer is, yeah, there's certain people. And you know something? That's when you know that you like somebody. It's because you can see that, they are there to help you. So big round of applause, Jody, and to Beth, and to Nana, and Tyler. Thank you for offering to be there to help us as well. I really appreciate that. I hope we never need it. And Erin, of course, sorry, honey. I really appreciate that. Listen to this, Jody, but big asterisk to Erin, please. You don't have to tell me why. Just remind me I need to talk about Erin. Listen to this. The decrease in the prednisone high blood sugar has been within normal range this week. And today it was 74. And in the morning it was 74, and tonight it was 110. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? So it suddenly spiked? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, or the Great Missouri. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, paddling down there, yeah. Or surviving a Montana winter. Yeah, I think I'd want you there. Erin, that is wonderful news. Erin, just so that you know, because I think it's important that you know as well. One of the things that has happened to me in retiring is do any of you understand resting heart rate? What that means? My resting heart rate is now in the mid 50s. At 70. Well, 71 next month. Can you believe that? Beth, do you know what your resting heart rate is? I always think about that. Whenever I'm on a mission, I think, yeah, I can imagine the speed that Beth will do this at. Yeah, isn't that amazing, Erin? And what and at my age, normally it would be way higher. Yeah, so I know I'm doing the right things. Yeah, Beth, I want you to know though, Beth. I really do. The other thing is, Beth, do you have a fitness watch? Because I'd love to know how many steps you'd take a day. I would be fascinated to know that. Or a pedometer of some sort that you can put on yourself. I think the best way you could monitor how you are controlling your life would be, can I bring my number of steps down? Most of us are trying to bring them up. In your case, I would think your measure of good mental health. Your birthday is on August the 26th, Jody. Right. Yeah, I think that's a great thing for you to have, because it's going to tell you stuff that you probably don't want to see, but it may save your life. For example, Beth, in my case, the difference was that the sleep apnea machine told me one thing, but my fitness watch told me something completely different. My fitness watch told me I was getting the sleep, but it wasn't the sort of sleep I was meant to be getting. And then I could take different actions to get that. So everybody, thank you for this broadcast. Question before I go, what did you learn today? Yeah, I agree, Tyler. When's your birthday, Tyler? Of course, it had to be. So that is 9 days before mine. I'm in that group too, Ty. And we Virgos are really a problem. Right? The three of us are really a problem in life. And I always remember, my staff once bringing me the Linda Goodman Love Signs book and said, hey, Sal, you really got to read this about Virgos. Did any of you hear me tell the story? And I said, what? They said, you got to read this about Virgos. And I said, okay. And it was, it started on a right-hand page and I'm reading down and it's saying, okay, that we actually are very picky people, and we have very high expectations of this, that, and the other. And, it's saying all the things. I'm going, yeah, 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 I know that. And then, and then, in the last few lines of this page I was reading, there were 2 typographical errors, right? And I'm going, can you believe that? You'd think somebody like Linda Goodman would have a decent enough editor to actually check that out. And I was getting quite frustrated. Anyway, never mind. And I turned the page, and the first line on the next page and said, and the burgers reading that there were typographical errors on that last paragraph would have gone insane. They are very picky about things like that. And I took the book, Beth and Tyler, I took the book and I hucked it across the room. I went, yeah, right. But you will be amazed how many people So, Beth, you see, I understand you at levels that you actually don't understand at all. I can see so much of what I used to be in who you are. And that's why I want to tell you that, you will be surprised at the difference. You're Leo by one day. All right. So it's 22nd, because Leo starts on the 21st, ends on the 21st. Oh, but you are the 21st, right? So Leo ends on the 20th. Well, Beth, I hope you will be better than I am. But I'm glad that you put a smiley at the end of that. Oh, it ends on the 22nd. Okay, I know. I thought it was the 21st. I always think the equinox is on the 21st. Why do I think that? Because normally it goes with an equinox thing. So, guys, I want to thank you. I hope you learned something today. And if you did, make sure you leave a comment on the replay so that people know what's in here that you really enjoyed. That would really help people understand that there are all sorts of things in every broadcast if you want there to be. And to me, this, I've got to subtitle this, The Attack of the Trolls, right? We love you too, Beth. And keep up the great work. I'm really pleased. Jody and Beth and Dana and everybody else, thank you for being here. But most of all, thanks to the moderators for hanging in there and making it possible to get past that wave. Wasn't that a story of life, right? That everything's going smoothly and suddenly there's an attack. The Night of the Trolls. That's what I'm going to call it when I do the edits on this one. a.k.a. the Night of the Trolls. And well done. This is just what life does to you. And just hang in there until it passes and everything goes quiet again. We came out on top, didn't we just? And how did we do that, Beth? By not panicking, by not getting angry, by just dealing with it in a adult way, and then they get bored. They went away, and some of them went away because they were reported, and they will pay the price for that, and they will learn not to do that because YouTube does not take using that sort of language well, and they will probably be very angry at me. But guess what? I didn't do it. They did. I am not responsible for what they did. They need to hold themselves responsible. Go Broncos! You know something? I used to support the Broncos for the longest time, Ty. It's really funny. All right, big hugs, everybody. I'm going to go and get some sleep now. This is DearMamaSal saying, thank you for being there. Every day we have a training program in life. That's how I look at life now. Every day life brings me another module, if I can put it that way, another module of life. And my job is to see it, recognize it, and go, okay, fine. Let me do some research on this one and find out what the answer is. This is DearMamaSal saying, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a great group of people that look after one another. But always remember, start by looking after yourself. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now. Bye.